Most dating advice focuses on what to do, what to say, what habits to build. But there's an equally important conversation almost nobody has directly. What are the specific behaviors that quietly make women want nothing to do with you? Not obvious stuff like being rude, the subtle things, everyday habits most guys don't even realize are working against them. Because you can do everything right, build genuine confidence, show real interest, and still be quietly undermining yourself with behaviors, pushing her away before you even get started. And the most frustrating part? Most of these habits feel completely normal. They feel like just being yourself. 5 habits. All of them subtle, all of them fixable. Let's get into it. There's a specific type of conversation that kills attraction faster than almost anything. Complaining about work, but never changing the situation. Complaining about being broke, but not changing any habits. Complaining about being out of shape, but not training. One complaint in isolation is just being human. Everyone vents sometimes. But when complaining becomes a pattern, it communicates something specific. A victim mentality. A relationship with life where things happen to you rather than because of you. An absence of agency. Agency, the sense that a man takes responsibility for his circumstances and actively works to change them, is one of the most attractive qualities that exists. Not because women want a man who has everything figured out, but because they want a man who is actively figuring it out. The fix isn't pretending everything is fine, but there's a massive difference between processing a difficulty and making it your conversational identity. Complain less. Build more. When you do talk about difficulties, talk about what you're doing about them. When you're with someone and you keep checking your phone, you are communicating something very specific without saying a word. Whatever is on that screen is more important than the person in front of you. Human beings are extraordinarily sensitive to attention. We feel at a visceral level when someone is fully present versus when part of their attention is elsewhere. And the feeling of divided attention is deeply uncomfortable, even when we can't explain why. When you're fully present, phone away, eyes engaged, genuinely focused, she feels it. It's rare enough in modern life that it stands out immediately. The phone habit also signals something about your relationship with discomfort. People reach for their phones most when they're slightly bored or anxious. Constant phone checking during time with someone else signals you can't be present without external stimulation. Put the phone away, bro. Actually, away. Not face down on the table. Away. She will feel the difference immediately. There's a version of conversation many guys fall into, especially when trying to impress someone, where the interaction becomes essentially a presentation, work, goals, past experiences, opinions on everything, and somewhere in there, they lose track of the fact that a conversation involves two people. When you talk about yourself extensively without showing genuine curiosity, without asking real questions, without listening actively, you create a specific experience for her. She feels like an audience, like a prop in your story, like her inner world is less interesting to you than your own. And that experience of feeling unseen is one of the most off-putting things that can happen in an early interaction. The irony is that the more you talk about yourself to seem interesting, the less interesting you become. The most interesting thing you can do is make the other person feel fascinating. Ask real questions. Listen to the answers with real attention. People fall in love with the people who make them feel most seen. It shows up in small ways. Talking negatively about your ex, making fun of other guys, criticizing people who aren't there to defend themselves, a general orientation toward finding what's wrong with people rather than what's interesting about them. Here's why this matters so much. When you speak negatively about others, her brain immediately asks, what does he say about me when I'm not around? That question doesn't need to be consciously formed. It just creates a background discomfort, a reduction in trust. There's also a deeper signal. How you talk about others reveals how you see the world. A man who consistently finds fault with people, who needs to diminish others to feel elevated, reveals an insecurity that no amount of surface confidence can cover. Contrast this with a man who speaks about others with basic respect, even when he has genuine criticisms. That man feels safer, more worth trusting. Speak well of people, bro, or say nothing. You post something and immediately check how many likes it gets. Your mood shifts based on engagement numbers. You post things specifically to signal attractiveness or status. Here's what this signals to someone paying attention. A man whose self-worth is visibly tied to social media validation is a man whose self-worth is externally dependent. And external dependence is the opposite of the emotional self-sufficiency that creates genuine attraction. There's also something specifically unattractive about visible social media obsession in a social context. When you're mentally calculating how a moment would perform as a post, you're not present. And presence is everything. The deeper issue isn't social media itself. It's what compulsive use reveals. A man who needs validation from strangers to feel good about himself hasn't built a stable internal foundation. Build that foundation, bro. Let your life be good for you first, not for the algorithm. Here's the honest truth about all 5 of these habits. None of them are character flaws. None of them make you a bad person. They're patterns, learned behaviors that develop completely unconsciously, that quietly work against the connection you're trying to build. And the fact that you're watching this means you're already doing something most men never do. Being honest with yourself, being willing to look at your own behavior without defensiveness. And that self-awareness is itself one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. Pick one habit you recognize in yourself, not to beat yourself up about it. Just decide you're going to do it differently. One conscious shift. That's it. Because attraction is built through the quiet daily choice to be more self-aware, more present, more intentional than you were yesterday. Now we've covered habits that build attraction and habits that kill it. But there's a whole other dimension. The psychology of making someone think about you when you're not around. How to create that pull, that magnetic sense of missing someone. That's exactly what the next video is about. Real psychology, not tricks, not games. It's already on the channel. Go watch it right now.